public defender backed out again?" the judge scoffed. He didn't wait for an answer. Of course he did. No one wants to defend someone like that. Laughter stirred on the prosecution side. At the center of the courtroom, Terrence Blake stood alone, a 44-year-old black man with soft brown skin, neatly combed hair, and a suit 2 sizes too big. He raised his chin and said, calmly, "I'll be representing myself." The laughter grew louder. The prosecutor leaned over to his assistant. "This'll be a breeze." As Terrence opened his old leather file, the room quieted. He was about to speak when a janitor passed behind him. Splash! A bucket of mop water landed right across Terrence's legs. Papers soaked. The defense file collapsed to the floor in a soggy mess. The room erupted again. He froze. For a second, he didn't move. Then, slowly, Terrence crouched down, gathered each ruined page with trembling hands. The judge didn't say a word. Neither did the bailiff. He returned to his seat, dripping, surrounded by mockery. The prosecutor walked past and whispered, "You're not a lawyer, Blake. You're a punchline." But somewhere in the back of the courtroom, someone stood up. Someone who wasn't laughing. "Are you finished drying off, Mr. Blake?" The judge didn't even try to hide her contempt. Terrence took a breath and tried to read from a surviving document. But his voice wavered. The page was too wet. The ink had smeared. "Objection," the prosecutor barked, "incoherent and irrelevant." "Sustained," the judge echoed. Terrence looked up. "Your Honor, I'm just trying to—" "Stick to the point. You're not qualified to interpret law," she snapped. Every attempt he made was swatted down. Laughter, eye rolls, shaking heads. He looked down again, his hands wet, his suit cold, his notes ruined. Then, a small photograph slid from his pocket. He picked it up. His daughter, Jada, 8 years old, standing proudly in front of her school's debate trophy shelf. She had written him a letter the night before court. "Stand tall, Dad, like you always tell me to." He held the photo tight. His mind wandered to the day his wife died. Waiting on a gurney, the nurses said they didn't have her paperwork. "Not our problem," one had whispered.
Terrence had dropped out of law school that same week. He had promised himself never to step foot in a courtroom again. Until today. And then it happened. The courtroom doors opened. A man in a tailored navy blue suit walked in, documents in hand. Tall, commanding. The judge blinked. "Mr. Blake," she said, confused. "You're the new prosecutor?" He nodded. "Yes, Andre Blake. I believe we're ready to proceed." Everyone froze. "Before we continue," Andre said calmly, "I'd like to enter something into the record." He placed his briefcase down and looked directly at the judge. "The defendant, Terrence Blake, is my younger brother." The room gasped. The judge fumbled her glasses. "Then you'll recuse yourself, surely." Andre cut her off. "No, ma'am, I won't. Unless this court can't promise my brother the same fairness it gives every white man in a suit." The courtroom fell dead silent. Andre glanced at the puddle beneath Terrence's seat, at the laughter, the condescension. "What I saw today was not law. It was theater." He turned to the prosecutor's table. "And I don't perform for systems that mock justice." The judge shifted, unsure. Terrence finally stood, slowly. No more shaking. He reached into his folder, pulled out the only paper untouched by the water. Jada's letter. He walked to the podium, placed it there without a word. Andre stepped back. letting his brother stand on his own. And in that courtroom, where dignity had been drowned in laughter, there was now only silence, because the man they mocked just reminded them what integrity looks like when it refuses to leave. Terrence Blake didn't shout. He didn't fight fire with fire. He stood drenched, humiliated, yet completely in control of himself. He came to court to defend his name and ended up reminding the room what quiet strength looks like. Not through anger, not through status, but through grace under pressure and the courage to keep standing when the world laughs. Injustice mocked him, but dignity had the final word. Sometimes power isn't revealed, it's remembered. If you believe stories like this deserve to be told, leave a comment and subscribe to Life's Hidden Gems.